Nestle, you know them, the chocolate bars, the coffee pods, the baby formula, but behind those familiar products lies a dark side, a history marked by controversy and exploitation. Buckle up, folks, because tonight we're diving deep into the shocking truth about Nestle, a company that's built an empire on questionable practices and a thirst for profit that seems to outweigh any moral compass. We begin our journey in the 1970s with a scandal that rocked the world, the Nestle baby formula controversy. In developing countries, Nestle aggressively marketed their infant formula as a modern, superior alternative to breastfeeding. This aggressive marketing, often involving unethical tactics like employing milk nurses dressed as healthcare professionals, led to a decline in breastfeeding rates and, tragically, an increase in infant mortality. The outrage was global. Boycotts erupted, demanding accountability from a company that seemed to prioritize profit over the lives of infants. This scandal, though decades old, remains a chilling example of Nestle's ruthless pursuit of market dominance, a pattern that continues to this day in various forms. Before we get to the modern-day controversies, let's rewind. Nestle's story begins in 1866 in Switzerland, founded by Henry Nestle. Initially, the company focused on developing a substitute for breast milk, aiming to combat infant mortality rates. A noble goal, right? Well, the company's trajectory took a turn. Nestle quickly expanded, merging with Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company in 1905. This merger marked the beginning of Nestle's transformation from a small Swiss enterprise into a multinational corporation, setting the stage for its global domination. But as Nestle grew, so did its appetite. The company's focus shifted from simply providing nutrition to maximizing profits, often at the expense of vulnerable communities and the environment. The baby formula scandal was just the tip of the iceberg. Nestle's rise to global dominance is a story of aggressive expansion and strategic acquisitions. Throughout the 20th century, the company went on a buying spree, snapping up brands like Nescafé, Maggi, and Kit Kat. This rapid diversification allowed Nestle to infiltrate households worldwide, establishing itself as a household name synonymous with everything from chocolate to bottled water. But this expansion came at a cost. As Nestle's reach grew, so did its influence, often wielded with little regard for the ethical implications. From exploiting cocoa farmers in West Africa to draining aquifers in developing nations, Nestle's pursuit of profit left a trail of devastation in its wake. Let's go back to that baby formula scandal, shall we? Nestle's aggressive marketing tactics in developing countries, often in areas with limited access to clean water and proper sanitation, had devastating consequences. The company's message was clear. Formula was modern, sophisticated, and most importantly, better than breast milk. This message, often delivered by salespeople dressed as nurses, resonated with mothers eager to provide the best for their children. However, the reality was far from the idyllic image presented in Nestle's marketing materials. Formula, when mixed with contaminated water, became a breeding ground for bacteria, leading to diarrhea, malnutrition, and even death in infants. The public outcry was swift and severe. Activists and health organizations condemned Nestle's practices, leading to a global boycott that lasted for years. Nestle eventually agreed to abide by the World Health Organization's marketing code for breast milk substitutes, but the damage was done. The baby formula scandal remains a stark reminder of the human cost of corporate greed. Beyond formula, the baby formula scandal is just one chapter in Nestle's long and troubled history. From the cocoa plantations of West Africa to the water tables of Pakistan, Nestle's operations have consistently been linked to environmental degradation and human rights abuses. Take, for example, the palm oil industry. Nestle is a major consumer of palm oil, an ingredient found in many of its products. The demand for palm oil has fueled widespread deforestation in Southeast Asia, destroying habitats for endangered species like orangutans and releasing massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And then there's the issue of child labor. Despite repeated promises to clean up its supply chains, Nestle has been caught time and again using child labor in its cocoa production. Children, some as young as 5, are forced to work long hours in hazardous conditions, often for little or no pay, to harvest the cocoa beans that end up in our chocolate bars. Water, it's essential for life. We all need it to survive. And Nestle knows this. In fact, they've built a multi-billion-dollar business on it, bottling water from springs and aquifers around the world and selling it back to us at exorbitant prices. But here's the problem. Nestle often extracts water from communities already facing water scarcity, leaving locals with depleted resources and environmental damage. In Pakistan, for example, Nestle's water extraction practices have been linked to falling water tables, forcing residents to dig deeper and deeper for a dwindling supply. Nestle argues that it provides jobs and economic benefits to the communities where it operates. But critics argue that the company's profits come at too high a price, prioritizing corporate gain over the basic human right to water. Let's talk chocolate, specifically, Nestle's vast chocolate empire. From Kit Kat to Smarties to Toll House, Nestle's sugary confections are enjoyed by millions worldwide. But behind the sweet taste lies a bitter truth: the exploitation of cocoa farmers in West Africa. Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce over 60% of the world's cocoa, yet the farmers who cultivate this valuable crop often live in poverty, struggling to afford basic necessities. Nestle, along with other chocolate giants, has repeatedly been accused of perpetuating this cycle of poverty by paying farmers unfair prices for their cocoa beans. Child labor is rampant in the cocoa industry. Children, some as young as 5, are forced to work long hours in dangerous conditions, often exposed to harmful pesticides and sharp tools. Nestle has pledged to eradicate child labor from its supply chain, but progress has been slow and often shrouded in secrecy. Section 8. Greenwashing and misleading marketing. Nestle's deceptive tactics. Nestle loves to portray itself as a sustainable, environmentally conscious corporation. They slap green labels on their products, launch campaigns promoting recycling, and talk a big game about their commitment to fighting climate change. But scratch beneath the surface and you'll find a different story. This is greenwashing at its finest. Nestle's actual environmental record is abysmal. From deforestation to plastic pollution to greenhouse gas emissions, Nestle's operations continue to harm the planet. And their misleading marketing campaigns are designed to distract from this inconvenient truth. They want you to think they're part of the solution, but in reality, they're a major part of the problem. Don't be fooled by the green PR machine. Nestle's actions speak louder than their carefully crafted marketing slogans. Section 9. A global behemoth. Nestle's influence on governments and policy. Nestle's power extends far beyond the supermarket shelves. With operations in over 180 countries and a revenue stream that rivals the GDP of some small nations, Nestle wields significant influence on governments and international policy. This influence is often used to advance the company's own interests, even when those interests conflict with the public good. Nestle has been accused of lobbying against public health measures, such as sugar taxes and labeling regulations, that could threaten their bottom line. They've also been known to use their economic clout to pressure developing countries into accepting trade deals that benefit Nestle while disadvantaging local farmers and producers. This kind of corporate overreach undermines democracy and allows multinational corporations like Nestle to operate with impunity. Section 10. The fight for change, consumer activism, and corporate accountability. Despite Nestle's vast resources and powerful allies, a growing movement of activists, consumers, and ethical investors are demanding change. Boycotts, protests, and shareholder activism are putting pressure on Nestle to clean up its act. From college campuses to the halls of the United Nations, people are raising their voices to challenge Nestle's unethical practices. They're demanding transparency in supply chains, an end to exploitative labor practices, and a commitment to environmental sustainability. The fight is far from over, but the growing awareness of Nestle's dark side is a sign that the tide may be turning. Consumers are becoming more discerning, demanding accountability from the corporations they support, and Nestle, once seemingly untouchable, is now feeling the heat. Section 11. A legacy of greed or a path to redemption, the future of Nestle. So, what does the future hold for Nestle? Will they continue on their current path, prioritizing profit over people and the planet? Or will they finally heed the calls for change and embark on a genuine path to redemption? The choice is theirs. Nestle has the resources and the capacity to become a force for good in the world. They could use their influence to promote sustainable practices, empower farmers, and improve the lives of millions. But first, they need to acknowledge the harm they've caused and make a genuine commitment to change. The world is watching, and the legacy of Nestle hangs in the balance.